Hi and good morning. We're in the midst of a small snowstorm, but today I'm going to do a little bit of reading on the Mediterranean Society in Greece. So right now we're doing a background on the Mediterranean Society, kind of like a background of how Greece was first established from the year 2000 to the year 1500, what agriculture was like, what religion was like, what it was like when they were attacked by invaders. Um, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So I'm just going to go ahead and start doing some reading on some archaeological findings. So they, so the Greek people were wide as merchants. They were trading raw goods, such as oil and animal skins. And just a backdrop, the area of Greece that they had first settled in, some of the first inhabitants, it was a rocky, dry area. So primarily the only two sources of cultivation that they were able to have at that time were grapes and olives. So they were able to make wine and olive oil. So oil is definitely of significance in this. Um, so they traded things so that they could obtain jewelry and other goods from Crete, the Asia Minor, and Egypt. Some of this commercial activity was not exactly above board. The Macean kings were not above a little privacy or routine. After all this activity concentrated a great deal of wealth in the hands of kings and a few officials. And it's a very common theme from the beginning of time, even to present day, that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And oftentimes, like the middle class, you're just kind of like floating in the middle. A lot of rivalries, a lot of rebellion and wars from the lower class to upper class. But most of the wealth, of course, was spent on warfare and defense. A large part of it, though, went to other activities such as crafts, jewelry, and expensive burials. That was huge back in the day. In Egyptian civilization, um, you know, Mayan civilization, Greek civilization, they spent a great deal on tombs and preserving their bodies, as well as having protection for their bodies. So they'd have various sculptures of protection, different rituals such as mummification to preserve their bodies for the afterlife. Whereas nowadays, yes, we have an embalming process, yes, we have grave sites, but it was not nearly as intricate as some people make it, you know, buildings and things of that nature. Today's a snow day. My kids normally would be at school, but they cannot be today. It's closed. Put it down. Put it down. So, like most societies dominated by an extremely powerful ruler, the Nacians spent a great deal of wealth on labor and burying that ruler. Who's that? Look, who's that? Hi. So this is my youngest. Not for long though, because in August I'm going to have twins. Grace is my oldest. She's 6. My daughter's she's 8. Yes, that's true. She's 8. Right. My stepson. So he is the oldest. Yes. Well, I'm the oldest from sister. Here they go. Okay. Hi. Hello. This is your baby. So, oh, hi. Hi. Oh, where's Grace? Go get Grace. Grace. Thumbs up to that. So like most societies dominated by an extremely powerful ruler, the Nacians spent a great deal of wealth and labor burying that ruler. Like I said, that was huge. Initially, the most powerful Maceans were buried deep in shaft graves, but some around 1500 BC or BCE, they began burying most powerful people in tholos tombs, which were like chambers cut in the side of a hill. Like most monumental architecture, their principal purpose was probably a display of power. In many ways, we know that the Macean religion, for much of it, survives into classical Greece and the pantheon of Greek gods. But we really don't know how much of the Greek religious beliefs is Macean and how much a product of the Greek Dark Ages or later. Like everything else about ancient cultures, it is hard to reconstruct a religious system from only ruins and a few fragments of writing. So we know that the Greek religion was polytheistic, as were many religions, such as Egyptian, Roman, Mayan, and some of the first monotheistic religions that we've seen were Zionism, Judaism, yes and no. So, like everything else about ancient cultures, it is hard to reconstruct a religious system. Deus. There are several reasonable guesses that can make, however, Macean religious was almost certainly polytheistic. And Maceans were actively synchronistic, adding foreign gods to their pantheon of gods with suppressing ease. The Macean probably entered Greece with a pantheon of gods headed by some ruling sky god, which linguists speculate may have been called Deus in the early Indo-European. And my guess is that word comes from Latin, but I could be wrong. The Deus showed up in almost all Indo-European languages, suggesting that this god is a common heritage for all Indo-European peoples. In the Greek, this god would become Zeus. Among the Hindus, the sky god became Deus Pitar. Pitar means father. We still see and encounter this word in etymologies of the word deity and divine. At some point in their cultural history, the Macean adopted the Minoan goddess and associated these goddesses with their sky god. Scholars believe that Greek pantheon of gods did not reflect Macean religion except for Zeus and the female goddesses. These goddesses, however, are Minoan in origin. So Chthonic. In general, later Greek religion distinguishes between two types of gods: the Olympian or sky gods, which you've all heard of in some form or another, gods of the earth, or chthonic gods. These chthonic gods are almost all female. The Greeks believed that the chthonic gods were older than the Olympian gods. This suggested that the original Greek religion may have oriented around the goddesses of the earth. But there is no evidence of this outside reasonable speculation. Macean religions certainly involve offerings and sacrifices to gods, and some may have speculated that they involved human sacrifice based on textual evidence and bones found outside tombs. The Homeric poems, there are to be a lingering cultural memory of human sacrifice and King Agamemnon's sacrifice of his daughter, Iphigenia. Several of the stories of the Trojan heroes involve tragic human sacrifice. This, however, is all speculation. Beyond this speculation, we can go no further. Somewhere in the shades of the centuries, between the fall of the Macean civilizations and the end of the Greek Dark Ages, the original Macean religion persisted and adapted until it fully emerged in the stories of human devotion, apostasy, and divine capriciousness in two epic poems of Homer, which I remember in English class, freshman year in high school, they had us watch the Iliad and the Odyssey, which I love. Very fancy teacup. Let's see it. You have a pinky extended. Pinky extended. Okay, very nice. So So the Greek Dark Ages was between 1150 to 800 BCE. When around 1150 BCE, the Sea Peoples destroyed Menacee. The cities crumbled and its population shrunk. Peoples moved away from the coast and took up farming. Self-sufficient families clustered in small villages. Economic organization became based upon family ownership and control over propriety. Much of the Menaceian culture was lost, including literacy. The remnants of the Minoan society and mythology took on new twists. The gods were no longer to be trusted. They were fickle, like the new economy. This new view of religion emphasized individual human action. Regrowth. Greece began pulling out of the Dark Age. Around 1000 BCE, some villages grew into cities, and old cities became repopulated. Farmers produced a surplus of Artinians, became more skilled, and merchants revived trade with other cities and regions. In particular, they traded with the Phoenicians, whom they borrowed the Phoenician alphabet, artistic styles, and shipbuilding technology. One thing I find most interesting of the Phoenician society, and it's spelled Phoenicians, is that the Phoenicians developed the first alphabet recorded in history that we know of with consonant sounds and vowel sounds. So what I think is most interesting is that when they developed the consonant sounds, we get that from phonics, right? If you say something pronounced phonetically, it comes from the Phoenicians. So I just thought that was interesting. New style ships allowed Greek merchants to expand their sea trade, and they also made Greek sailors into better pirates, which was an important source of wealth for many Greek cities. In the new cities, families controlled their own individual property and wealth. Remember that elsewhere, the king and temple controlled the economy and redistributed wealth to the population. Heroes. This eventually gave a new kind of acrostasy, based upon wealth, as families used their wealth to win political influence. But the aristocrats claimed that their authority came from superior characters and qualities. And that was also a common theme in history. In the Egyptian culture, we learn that pharaohs claimed to be gods in human form. And during the Han Dynasty, we learned that there was something called the mandate of heaven, meaning that heaven ordained or chose such rulers to be rulers. So we're going to close for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you gained some type of insight on history. That is if you like history. For me, this is actually a prerequisite. I'm sorry, it's not a prerequisite. This is actually a degree requirement to complete my RN degree. Oh my gosh, I think it's cute. So I just thought I'd jump on and kind of share, and also it makes reading a little bit more fun and interesting. But I think I have to take a break. Have a wonderful day, and cheers.